Okay, so I am making another cup of coffee, and while I sit here and I wait for my coffee to brew, because if I go back to my desk, I will completely forget about it, I thought I would tell you a story. Okay, so I've been talking a lot about boundaries and the crazy, right? Because that happened this weekend. And so I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into that. Okay. If you don't know me, my name is Tabitha Sweeney. I help my clients in the areas of healing, deconstruction, and boundaries. Whoo! All right. And it's all in the attempt to become you. Like if the world were to shut the fuck up, who are you? What are you okay with? What are you not okay with? Right? So let's back up. Let's get into what happened this weekend, and then I'm going to tell you what I got out of it. Okay, so I have been talking to this guy for about 2 months now. He's amazing. He's incredible. He lives nice and close. He has a real job, like a really demanding job. Very successful. Has 2 kids. The one thing he does not have is time. Like we are talking, his available time is about like this much, where mine is like, whoo, I got all day, I got all night, I got everything. All I've got is time, right? So he grew up here. If you don't know, I moved here about a little over a year ago. I made 3 really good friends in the area, all of which are moms, all of who live at least 45 minutes from me, because I literally live right outside the city. So why would I make friends with anybody relatively close to me? I don't know. That seems like, normal thing. Anyways, that's not important. What is important is because the one commodity that he does not have a lot of is time, he does this thing where he gets really excited and he'll be like, can I see you this weekend? And I'm like, yes. And then he is triple booked and things don't work out, right? So a few weeks back, I said to him, listen, this is a hard line for me. I feel like you're disrespecting my time. Okay. So I'm drawing the boundary. Like if that's how you're going to treat me, if you're going to ask if you can see me and then just fucking disappear, like I'm out. I don't have time for this. And I meant it. But here's what I didn't realize at the time. I didn't realize that my boundary that I was drawing was actually designed to cover up what I haven't yet healed in myself. And sometimes this is the thing about boundaries. You don't know where they are until you hit them. And then you have to determine, is that boundary acting as a band-aid, or is that boundary truly a boundary? And when it's truly a boundary, you don't feel jealousy, you don't feel crazy, you don't feel upset. You simply know that this is your standard, this is your expectation, and if it cannot be met, I will remove myself from the situation, right? Like there's no underlying feelings when that boundary is truly a standard expectation and you're at peace and healed. But when you are not at peace and healed, and when you draw a boundary over something that needs to be healed and you're using it as a band-aid, see all these like other really ugly feelings come up, and like these feelings are like anger and jealousy and resentment, and everything starts like bubbling and boiling. And it was all under the disguise of the fact that he was disrespecting me. But here's the reality. As I told him, like, I'm really sorry, like, you fucking did it again, and that was my boundary. Like, everything in me felt like I wanted to puke because I didn't want to walk away from him. And the reality was, in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, Tab, if you know this is what he does. And the reality is we never had set plans made. Like, it wasn't like, I'm picking you up for dinner at 7:00 and then he fucking didn't show up. Like, no. It was like, hey, can I see you this weekend? I said, yeah. And that was as far as it goes. And I do this with lots of friends, day in and day out, all the time. And I would never walk away from them. Why am I walking away from him over the same thing that's happening with other people, right? Where is this all coming from? And why am I struggling? And why am I so fucking angry? And why can I not stop texting him a million contradicting thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, right? I know why. I was questioning my lovability. I was questioning whether or not I was good enough, whether or not I was worthy. I was taking his really quick thought in passing, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And I was affirming it into like set in stone. And the reason I was doing that is because If you've ever been a mom who's trying to coordinate with other moms, especially when there's like a 45-minute difference between you, and especially when everybody has 2 to 3 kids, it takes months to get a day on the calendar. So like, I don't have a network where I can just be like, oh, this group of people are out here and I'll just go do something else. Like, I don't have other people to do other things with at this point in time. And I don't have the resources in this moment. It's Christmas. It's some really big bills. There were some really big things that came up. I was back and forth in Buffalo 3 fucking times in November. Okay. And going back again next week. What that did was like drain my fun account, right? Like, I don't have extra money for fun right now. So like, I can't even just take myself out by myself. Like, I'm just like, okay. So what I realized was, if I had the ability, would I be as angry if I had the ability to just say, when he texts me at 7:00 and says, hey, where are you? Like, I'm out with friends. Like, fuck it. I didn't hear from you. No, I wouldn't be anywhere near as angry. My problem is the fact I don't have that network right now. Do you see what I'm saying? So I created that boundary in order to protect myself from feeling those feelings. But then when he broke the boundary, which wasn't a good boundary, it was a terrible fucking boundary. And before you jump on me and say, well, that is really inconsiderate of him to do, we both know it. Like, right? But we both do inconsiderate things. Everybody does inconsiderate things. And the reality is, he wasn't, like I said, he wasn't actually standing me up. It wasn't like, I'm going to meet you at 7:00. It was no different than when I say to my girlfriends, or when you run into somebody, you're like, oh my God, we should get together this weekend. Yeah, we should get together this weekend. And then everybody goes on their own way, right? Now it's slightly different because, I mean, yeah, we're sleeping together. So that makes it slightly different, but not really. Like, I mean, nobody's like falling head over heels, and nobody is at a point where like, I can't live without you. No. So needless to say, none of that's important. What's important is the fact that I was using the boundary as a Band-Aid. And when you use a boundary as a Band-Aid, the crazy comes out. When the crazy comes out, it's a key that there is something unhealed. The only way to figure out what it is to get uncomfortable. The only way to figure out what it is to actually sit down with yourself and be like, well, where the fuck is this coming from? And then get brutally honest. And the brutally honest was, fuck, he didn't pick me. I don't feel like fucking sitting home by myself. I feel unworthy. None of that is true. So now that I know my truth, now I can move forward in a different light.